Hello, my name is Lisa and welcome to my channel about co-creation. Here I talk about how to successfully use co-creation processes such as hackathons, brainstormings, and collaborative competitions to solve scientific, technological, and business challenges. And today I want to talk about one of the most important things in the co-creation process, and it's one of the very first things that you need to do if you decide to go with such a process. And I'm talking about defining the challenge. Today, let's talk about what are the good and bad challenges for co-creation, why it's important to identify the right challenge early in the process, and what are the rules for the right challenge, how you can really come up with the right challenge definition. Now, having the right challenge is like seeing where you need to go. You see the final destination, and you immediately come up with different ways of how to get there. And when you organize a co-creation process, it is really essential to define the challenge right as early as possible, like actually before finding the teams. You don't want to waste anyone's time. You don't want to waste your own time to find the wrong teams at the very beginning, to find the wrong participants that will not be able to come up with what you're looking for in the first place. And of course, you don't want to lose time and money. When I worked at the innovation consulting company where we helped our clients solve their scientific challenges, we always took quite some time to cover this stage of the process because we were facilitators. So we really needed to understand the challenge, right? What is behind the challenge? What are the criteria to solve the challenge? What the client is looking for? It was extremely important because based on this, we were looking for the teams. Based on this, we were choosing the candidates. And when we had the challenge, we basically showed this challenge, the presentation with the challenge to university teams, and they made a decision whether they could come up with some solutions or whether their experience, whether their expertise is not enough for this particular challenge. And this is why at the early stage, when you and the client, or if you do it within your company, when you really need to spend some time to ask questions to your top management, ask questions to yourself, even to your team, to get all the details about the challenge that are needed to make the right decision. You don't want to change the challenge in the middle of the process because it's gonna cause a lot of troubles for everyone. The teams will need to change their solutions. You will be trying to evaluate the solutions based on your new vision, which is completely different, and of course you will not be happy. So for everyone to be happy, really spend some time to find the right challenge. Now, there is one more thing that I really want to cover here that is connected to working with facilitators. And I'm talking mostly about external facilitators because I hope that internally you can agree on such things. It is really important to make sure that the facilitator understands your challenge and that they are not pushing for their own vision of the challenge. Because I've seen it quite sometimes, unfortunately, when the company that organizes co-creation processes, they are pushing for something that they think is the right challenge to solve. And it causes a lot of trouble throughout the process because client is not happy. They wanted a completely different thing. Participants are not happy because the client is not happy, and they get this feedback and they do not understand what's wrong with their solutions. When in reality, it's just really the client wants to solve one thing and the facilitator wants to solve another thing. And I'm not talking about the cases when the facilitator tries to lower down the expectations of the client, because sometimes the client just, they want to go to the moon tomorrow, which is of course not possible. But I'm talking about the cases when I don't know, the client wants to have this material for that particular application, and the facilitator says, oh yeah, you know what, it's not going to work, the market is going down, let's just do another thing, let's do this material for like a completely different application. And this is a way to disaster. Like, trust me, it's not going to work for anyone. The client will not be happy because they are not getting what they want, and they know their business, they know what they want. And the participants, the teams will not be happy because their solutions are not going to be satisfying. And facilitator will not be happy because, of course, it's not going to work for them. Just make sure that everyone understands each other. Now let's talk about good and bad challenges. And you know what? I don't think that bad challenges, such thing as bad challenges, really exist, but there are some challenge definitions that help get better results, and definitions that, provide results that do not really meet expectations. And yeah, it depends on the challenge, and there are some rules, and let's just talk about them right now. Now, I do believe that there are two main characteristics that good challenges have. They are concrete and they are ambitious, and they're both at the same time. Let's talk about those things. When I'm talking about concrete challenges, I mean focused challenges. We're not talking about developing a polymer material. We're talking about the specific niche this material will be used in. We're talking about the specific application, or we are talking about specific qualities of this material, what it should have. And if we're talking about business challenges, we're not talking about increase in revenue. We are talking about the specific area, we're talking about the specific product, and we're talking about the specific market we want to sell this product in. So why is it important to have a concrete challenge? First of all, for participants to come up with the solutions that you expect. They need to know what you want to get at the end, so that they can come up with the right ideas, that the ideas that are going to work for you, with the ideas that you will be able to implement. The second point is that you will be able to evaluate these ideas. Because when you have this list of criteria, it's going to be easier for you to understand whether this solution is good or whether it's not that good, whether it's something that you expect and whether it's something that you can really use in your company, for your business, for your product, or whether it's something that is really useless and you just will throw away this idea. Now, there is no need to include all these details, all these numbers into the challenge definition. It's good to keep the challenge definition itself pretty short, but to each challenge definition there should be a set of criteria, and there should be numbers if you have numbers. There should be some characteristics for the solutions to keep in mind. This is something that you just really need to list and provide to your participants. Now, the second thing I was talking about is that the challenges for co-creation processes should be ambitious. Something that you've been trying to solve for a while in your daily, regular processes, but we're not able to do that. When it comes to the level of ambitions that you should include in your challenge, a lot really depends on the time frames of the process. If you have a co-creation process for a few days only, there is no point for participants to come up with a new molecule or, new OpenAI. It's impossible, everyone knows that it's not going to happen. And participants would rather be demotivated because, they will know that they are not able to deliver the result that you want. So it's better to be realistic, to set expectations high, but not too high. And there is this fine line between that. And at the same time, if the challenge is not ambitious enough, it will not spark creativity. Like, if you have a year-long process, don't ask to improve a small detail that your own team can do within a month. Just to give you an example, at the company I worked for, we specifically took challenges that the clients have been trying to solve for years but were not able to solve. Because our co-creation process usually took us around 1 year to complete. So we had plenty of times and we had different teams from the whole world solving these challenges. So it made sense to set expectations and ambitions high enough. And sometimes it was also just challenges that the clients needed to solve quickly, just within a year, within 2 years, because of some regulations or something like that. So I believe that this combination for challenges, them being concrete and ambitious at the same time, is something that is going to give the best outcome to any co-creation process. It's like shaking a Coca-Cola bottle before opening it. That's how much energy and impulse you'll get from participants if your challenge is concrete and ambitious at the same time. Other rules for challenges for co-creation processes, I think it's good to mention that the challenge should also be important for you and your company. Because co-creation processes, they might be quite expensive, and they do require lots of time and lots of energy from everyone's side, not only from participants, but from you as well. You don't want to waste your time and money and efforts to get something that you don't really care about. So it's better to keep this in mind. Now, thank you for watching this video. I hope that it was helpful for you and now you understand better how to come up with the right challenge definition for your co-creation process. I will leave some examples for challenge definitions with some criteria to cover below the video. And again, please let me know if you have any questions about co-creation in comments. I'll be happy to cover them in my next videos. And yeah, see you next week. Bye!